Whoever succeeds President Yudhoyono will inherit a hefty in-tray, including the often vexed relations between Jakarta and Canberra over the subject of asylum seekers. Rafendi Djamin is Indonesia's representative on ASEAN's Inter-governmental Commission on Human Rights. Rafendi Djamin, it's good to be talking to you.
Yes.
Indonesia has been very critical of Australia's current asylum seeker policy, but I wonder this, does Indonesia itself has a responsibility to make sure that these vulnerable people are not being exploited by people smugglers on Indonesian soil?
This is the issue that we have as a so-called transit nations. We are not the destination, we are the transit nations. And they are coming down through Indonesian territory, through different ways that we also recognize that as a problem of people smuggling. But the flow of this mixed migration is a combination of migration. Some of them have a legitimate rights to seek the protection. So in that context, Indonesia has been trying hard, to deal with this kind of situation, to make sure that the legitimate rights of the people who are seeking protections will be guaranteed by our local national law. We are not state party of the Refugee Convention, unlike Australia, but we have to deal with the situation. So
But isn't one of the consequences of this that these people are ripe for exploitation by people smugglers operating off Indonesian soil? Does not Indonesia, do not its authorities have a responsibility to do more to ensure that these people are not being exploited by people smugglers?
Well, I think that's a common responsibility of all countries who has been a kind of transit destination, even a source country. So you have to deal with this kind of a common approach instead of working individually. It will be impossible to work individually as a country in order to make sure that the issue of people smuggling can be handled. At the same time, it is an issue of security. At the same time, it is an issue of human rights protections.
Turning directly to current events in your own country, you are one of a number of human rights campaigners who has declared opposition to the possible election of Prabowo Subianto as presidents who succeed SBY. What signal do you think it would send to the world should Prabowo be elected?
I don't have anything against Prabowo. The only thing my concern is about the principle of human rights. When somebody is allegedly involved, whoever it is, allegedly involved with a crimes which is called crimes against humanity, which is the enemy of the humanity, then it will have to be clarified first before he or she can go to a public function. That's the principles.
But in reality, that's not going to happen between now and the presidential election, is it?
Well, you never know. It's 18 May is the deadline for submitting the official candidacy. So you still have another couple of days, right, of 18 May. If then Prabowo decided to do something to clarify these things, then it will make things better. But if he doesn't, that means that you're going to have a competition of somebody who has allegedly involved with the crimes against humanity, and it has not clarified. And when he wins the elections, I think it will cost a lot for the country as well as for the neighboring countries. Some of the countries, some of the friendly countries from Indonesia, is even still put him on the blacklist.
I might turn to one final subject, if I can. You are Indonesia's representative on ASEAN's Commission on Human Rights. But isn't it the case that human rights have got worse in many parts of Southeast Asia since the Human Rights Declaration was signed back in 2012? Repression in Cambodia and Vietnam, sectarian violence in Myanmar. There's also anti-democratic lawlessness in Thailand currently, and unacceptable behaviour as acknowledged by President Yudhoyono, by the military in West Papua. That's hardly a success story, is it?
The ASEAN Human Rights Declaration, as you said correctly, it was adopted in 2012. That is the beginning of the whole long process, how this sub-region, ASEAN countries, of 10 member countries, can deal with human rights challenges. As you know, ASEAN was established in 1967, and about 40 years it was not discussed at all on the issue of human rights. It was just started back in 2008 when ASEAN finally decided to have a charter where it has a legally binding commitment on the principle of good governance, respect to fundamental rights, and rule of law. And then in 2012 you have this declaration, and I don't think you can expect that within a couple of years all the challenges in the region can be resolved with such a declaration. A declaration is not a legally binding instrument. So it is a beginning of a long process. But we are working in that line. That's the important thing. You know, a step-by-step evolutionary process, how the 10 countries can work together. And you know, the 10 countries are very different in all levels of its, in the economic level, in the socio-political level, and even the understanding of human rights and democracy. So indeed, there are some challenges, but we are working on it.
Rafendi Djamin, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.